All right, I'm gonna go over the basics of the bump clip and kind of just talk about its implications on the 80% route for Solar Jetman and get into technical details of it so that you can start practicing. Um, so first, let me go ahead and demonstrate the bump clip. All right, there we go. So as you can see, I was able to just pass through the wall and now I am out of bounds. So let me rewind and we can look at what's happening here. Okay, so when you shield, it actually increases your pod's hitbox very slightly. And that combined with hitting the upper part of this wall and bumping you down far enough will bypass the collision with the bottom part of the wall entirely. And it's very precise. So um, yeah, so this is the frame where you actually clip through, and you can see we just pass right through. One thing to note that is that if you unshield in these first few moments after clipping through, you could clip back in bounds. So that's kind of one important thing to keep in mind. But and let's go over the general requirements. Um, so this requires a frame perfect shield input. Um, and so there's a couple crucial frames here. There's this frame, which is the frame you actually put in the shield input and is frame perfect. Then there's this frame where your shield actually comes out, and this has to be the frame right before you bump. So that's when you actually hit the wall, and then next frame you're through. And so the requirements, other than that, like all hinge on what's going on the frame your shield comes out, your position, and your velocity. So the goal is to be as low as possible while having as high vertical velocity as possible. And because of this the slope right below us, really the highest vertical velocity we can have is about 50% your max speed because it's a 50% grade slope. And max horizontal speed is also required for this, so they actually bump down far enough. But for your vertical positioning, if you're too low, you'll scrape the bottom of the ground and hit the bottom part before the top, which will slow you down and it won't work. And if you're too high, you won't get bumped down far enough to get through the wall entirely. And so for your vertical spacing, it's about a 2 pixel window. And it's actually less than that the lower your vertical velocity is. So you want to maximize your upward speed to give you the greatest chance of hitting this. And as for your horizontal spacing, it is also a 2 pixel window. And that might sound kind of weird because, we're traveling horizontally. But your max speed is actually 3 pixels per frame, which means that a third of the time you don't hit this pixel just by sheer luck. Not really much you can do about that. So there's a little bit of a lottery involved. So even if you have perfect skill, you're not guaranteed to hit it. So the visual cue that I usually go for when I'm working on this is actually using the slope itself, because the angle of the slope is the exact angle of the trajectory that you want going into this to maximize your results, your chances of getting it. Um, and really, your pod, if you look at it visually, it should be like just barely overlapping with the bottom terrain there. Um, so that's how you can kind of line it up. Um, and it's a pretty hard trick, but over the course of me working on this, I've definitely gotten more consistent. So it is something you can practice and get get the hang of. Um, but it is difficult and it will take practice. Let's talk about how this affects the 80% route. So there's two uh, big time saves that I've been going for in my runs. Uh, one in 13 and one in 12. So in 13, the route has been uh, you get the first two fuels, these two, you grab the third fuel here, and then take it all the way around, drop it off here, grab fourth fuel, and go to the wormhole. So with this clip, we can save a lot of time on this right side of the level. So first two fuels are the same. Grab first one, drop it off, grab second one, drop it off. And then see this geometry right here. That is exactly what we're looking for the bump clip. And so right after dropping off the second fuel, you want to perform the clip here. And then that gives you a straight line to get this fuel, and you can drop it off right here while still inbounds or still out of bounds. And then you just navigate down here and you're already down in this area. It saves about 25-ish, 30 seconds if you get it quickly, which immediately um, offsets the time you lose for grabbing the shield. Um, so I think this is absolutely worth it um, if you're like really going for record times. Um, however, the clip on 12 is the really juicy time save. So let's go over to 12 here. All right, so on 12, there's 4 places on this wall right here that you can clip into to get quick access to this first fuel. I've been using this one um, mainly because there's an enemy here and uh, the gravity planet here. It kind of makes it a little tricky to do this one. And this one at the top, you may not know, but in the top, I think it's 40 or 80 pixels of the level, the gravity is set to a different value than the normal gravity of the level. So it's actually like really kind of wonky going for this here because the gravity's shifting as you're going for it. Um, so that can affect your vertical positioning and make it hard to get. Um, so I've been going for this one, but you don't really have to. You can go for whichever one is works out for you. But you clip in here, you can go up here and grab the fuel while out of bounds. And you actually want to stay out of bounds. You don't want to drop it off here because look where this takes us. It takes us immediately to the top, which has been such a time waster on this level, getting this last fuel. So we actually take this first fuel all the way to the drop off here, grab the second fuel, and drop it off. And then you kill yourself, warp back, and then do the other two fuel like normal. That saves about a minute if you get it fast. It is harder to get the clip on 12 because of the higher gravity. It's much harder to control your vertical speed and positioning. So it's definitely a little more challenging in my experience. But Definitely doable. But yeah, that's the route that I've been going for. Um, Please let me know if you come up with some other ideas. I mean, there's lots of places to clip here. So if you see something that I'm not seeing, I'd love to hear about it. Well, that's all I got for today. Love to hear from you guys. So let me know what you think, and if you have any suggestions for how we can make this better. So until next time.